Hey everybody, this is Brewmaster Andy here again with another brewing experiment for you guys to try out. This doesn't happen to be an experiment for me, it's something that I've done before, but it's a really simple recipe that is kind of great for this season. Now that we're coming up on Thanksgiving and towards the holidays, a lot of people like to do hot apple cider for their holiday parties, things like that. I don't particularly like hot apple cider because it's really just cider and booze. But what I do like to do is create my own hard cider, similar to my brewing process, but a lot easier to do, a lot fewer materials, and something that you can do right on the stovetop. So we're going to be making some cider today, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. It's much simpler than you might imagine. So I'll go over my equipment and gear first so you know what you're going to need in order to do this recipe successfully, and then we'll get going. All right. So first things first, I only have, this is about a 2.5, 3 gallon pot, stainless steel. It's not something, it's probably something everyone has lying around their kitchen. You don't need a big capacity for this, so that's why I'm using this pot and I'm just using my stovetop. As you can see, we are not outside where I normally brew, we are in my kitchen. So that said, we got about a 3 gallon pot, something that you can fit 1.5 gallons of water comfortably in, which is what I have in there right now. You'll see there's a temperature probe in there that goes to my digital thermometer. You don't want to do this normally with a digital thermometer. This is one of those in-oven thermometers because if it does get wet, it will break, but I have mine insulated with silicone aquarium tubing. So it's heat resistant, and I'm able to just kind of throw it in the water. I use it in my normal brew day. So if you follow that along, you see that I'm actually heating up the water. I think you can't really see because of the glare. There we go. It's currently at 92. It's actually not supposed to be set at 122, so let's go up to where we need to go. We're looking for about 155 degrees here. That'll be the temperature that we want to hold at, just to make sure that we get all of our... There we go. Just to make sure that we get the flavors and sugars out of the grains that we're going to be using. So, heat about 1.5 gallons of water to 155 degrees. When we get there, I'll explain the next step. I measure it out in a gallon jug that I have created. If you don't know the proportions, 4 cups is 1 quart, 4 quarts is 1 gallon, so you can just measure it out that way. Need a wooden spoon. Need this muslin bag right here, which you can get at any homebrew store. They're cheap, they're about 10 cents a piece. I have tied a knot in one end here, and what I'm going to end up putting in there is this grain right here. This is 1/2 pound of Crystal 60 malt. It has been milled, which means that the husks have been crushed. The flour and starch on the inside has been exposed. This is going to go in that muslin bag, and we're going to steep it in the water in just a few minutes. I also have here 2 pounds of dry malt extract. This is light, this is amber. The combination makes for a pretty good base for this particular cider. You get a little bit of malt flavor, a little bit of malt backbone to the cider rather than being super crisp and kind of cloying. It's going to be really, really nice. Well-balanced flavor as well. So in the back I have my hydrometer. You don't need to worry about that. I use it to measure specific gravity, so it tells me how much sugar content is in my final mix before I ferment, so I kind of know what alcohol I can expect out of the brew. It's a can of PBR, because got to drink something, right? And right over here you can see I've measured out some hops here. This is a 1/4 ounce. You actually do want to add some hops because it gives some really nice flavor, but you want to stick with some really mild citrusy hops, fruity ones that will go well with the cider. So I use, these are Centennial. You can see I have a giant bag of 1 pound of them here. Centennial is a pretty versatile hop, but it's kind of strong, so I'm only using 1/4 ounce. Normally I would use about 1/2 ounce of a hop like Cascade, something like that. So some suggestions if you want to try this yourself. 1/4 ounce of Centennial is good. 1/2 ounce of Cascade, 1/2 ounce of Willamette, something like that would be pretty good for you to try. And finally, right here, 4 gallons of Mott's apple juice. I bought this at BJ's. I think it was a 2-pack of 2 gallons for $6 or $7, so it wasn't super expensive. And the malt extract is probably the biggest expense that you'll have. All told, this recipe is a good $20, maybe 25. So as you can see, we're getting closer to that 155, which is where we're going to want to end up. But while that's heating up, I'll show you the other step that you need to take to make sure you're prepared here. So if you walk over here into my bathroom, you see my bathtub here. It has a bucket in it. Don't mind the children's toys. You see the bucket here is soaking in sanitizer right now. I use a sanitizer called Star San. It's this stuff right here. It's an acid-based sanitizer. You can get it at any homebrew store or buy it online. You don't need to have something like this. If you have iodophor, which is a iodine variant, you can sanitize with that. You don't want to sanitize with bleach or anything like that. You want to make sure you get a food-grade sanitizer. So this is just a 6.5 gallon bucket that I bought at a homebrew store. You can get one for $10, and I'm going to sanitize that so that when everything goes in, it's clean. There's nothing nasty for the yeast to latch onto and eat instead. So instead of producing cider, they produce something disgusting. You don't want that. So we're going to avoid that by sanitizing. We'll check our temperature here, and if we're not quite there, we're getting close. So I'm going to take a break, have a little bit of my terrible beer, and be back with you once I have put my grain in this sock, and I'm at 155 for steeping, and I'll explain what we do there.